What's up, guys? It's me, JellyKnees. And let's talk about Arawn. He's the only myth spotlight I haven't covered yet. We've gone over everybody else. So he's the final one. We got to get caught back up on these videos. So we're going to talk about him today. But I do want to announce something exciting and ask your guys' help on something. My goal is that by the end of May, I am actually going to be at 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Currently, we're sitting at 762. So if you guys could help by hitting subscribe, hitting the like button, sharing my videos with your friends, having them subscribe, the whole 9 yards, I really, really want to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month of May. So I really would appreciate any help you guys can give in that regard. So please, again, hit subscribe, hit that like button, share the video out. I really, really appreciate it. But let's talk about Arawn. So Arawn's base skin, the splash itself didn't wow me in any way, shape, or form. But when we see this initial opening around Arawn's skin, it kind of like hit me of like how insane he is and how like he was designed to be this weapon of mass destruction against the Ethereans and against their anima. And so it's insane to me how scary he looks. He's got that like weird bucket under his face that looks bloody, like he was just eating out of it. Like it's terrifying, and I think it's a brilliant design overall. So super good work there. Arawn's archetypes are Disruptor, so he's also a Disruptor just like Leah, and Gladiator. So Disruptor, we already know, is zone control and target selection, which makes sense based on what we know, what we get for Arawn's kit. And then Gladiator is just that he's going to be an offensive tank, which again, for what his kit is, makes perfect sense for him, I think. He also belongs to the Berserker class. So Berserkers are going to have a class ability where they can destroy terrain or alter terrain to create and block some paths in the jungle or around the map. We haven't seen any examples of this, but I'm sure from what we've been told, it's going to be really cool to be able to block off certain areas or create new pathways and routes to go through things. And it'll be really curious to see how it affects like jungle clears, or if you can affect the other team's junglers by blocking them in certain ways and messing with their routes instead of making your route better. So overall, really cool thing that I can't wait to see in action. Arawn's passive is Infernal Aura. So what Infernal Aura is, it's pretty straightforward, is just an AoE magic damage like field that emanates off of Arawn. And it does, like I said, magic damage. Now, there's also a second part of his passive in that when Arawn kills enemies, he's granted stacks. And for every stack that he gets, he's going to be granted bonus health, and his aura's damage is going to increase at the same time. So in theory, if you're like playing a really good farming game of Arawn, late game, your aura could do massive damage as well as making you naturally tanky. So it'll be really interesting to see some like hardcore farm builds come out for Arawn that buff his passive damage and give him lots and lots of stacks at the same time. His special ability is Torment. And what this is Arawn is able to basically give himself a different aura. So he turns off his basic infernal aura and instead turns it to a fear. So as enemies approach him or as he approaches enemies, he will fear them for a set duration. While this is active, like I said, his infernal aura does turn off and he will not be doing that AoE magic damage. And then even after the fear kind of field or radius around him goes away, there's still a couple seconds that his infernal aura will be turned off. But being able to fear in AoE is very strong and easily combos in with some of his other abilities. His first ability has 2 effects as well. The important one here is the passive effect. So just by learning this ability, you gain this passive in that you can afflict a blazed state on enemy myths. And each ability gains bonus effects if it's hitting an enemy that's in a blazed state. In addition, being in a blazed state deals magic damage over time to whichever enemy is in that state. So that's the passive effect of Burning Fists. And then the active effect is that Arawn empowers 2 melee attacks and kind of strikes in front of him, dealing damage in a cone and applying blaze to everyone that's hit. If the enemy is already ablaze, then those 2 strikes will deal bonus magic damage. So like I said, if they're a blaze, you gain a bonus status effect on top, in addition to the damage that blaze itself does. Arawn's second ability is Impending Doom. This ability has the potential to be one of the strongest in the game if the throw distance is interesting and entertaining. And I'm kind of talking about it already, but Arawn charges forward, and it seems like a fairly large distance, and he grabs the first enemy myth that he runs into, and he gets to hold them for a duration. During this, he can recast and throw them, and they go wherever he decides to throw them, or he can throw them into a wall and stun them, or if he decides not to throw them and just hold them for the full duration, he then slams them in the ground and deals magic damage. Now, the throw or the slam both deal magic damage. They haven't said if they both deal the same magic damage, so there's something to be said about that potentially being worth it. Whether you want to land the stun and deal less magic damage or hold them for the full duration, slam them into the ground and deal more, I think would depend on your situation and adds that kind of skill cap to Arawn that you'd be able to differentiate which is better in your situation. The other thing is that if the enemy myth that Arawn grabs is blazed, then he gains persistence for the duration. So persistence, if you don't know, is a crowd control reduction stat. So being able to grab a myth that's ablaze and just immediately gain crowd control reduction, I think is going to be very, very strong for Arawn. His third ability is Hell's Inferno. Arawn's going to lob a fireball out in a target direction, and when it lands, it's going to kind of leave an area of effect that slows and deals magic damage over time to any enemy myths standing inside of it, or any enemies standing inside of it, not even just myths. If the person standing inside is already set ablaze, then their magic resist is going to be reduced. So this could easily be kind of an opening move that you set them ablaze with maybe Burning Fists, toss out a Hell's Inferno, reduce their magic resist, go in, grab them with Impending Doom, and chuck them into a wall to stun them, and then maybe use your ultimate, which for Arawn is Imminent Apocalypse. This is kind of an insane ability, actually. So Arawn's size increases, and he gains bonus maximum health. Now, this bonus maximum health will be based on how many stacks Arawn has. So we might see, let's say his stacks give him 1 health per stack, just normally. And maybe for Imminent Apocalypse, that increases to 2 health per stack. And so you basically effectively double your stack's bonus health just by using your ultimate. His aura the damage is increased, and now it slows, which isn't kind of insane. I would expect that might be a little too strong depending on how much the slow is. But if he just stands next to you, you're passively slowed is fairly strong. But the big thing on this is that his basic attacks apply blaze for a duration of his ultimate. So he not only gains more health, he does more damage with his aura, he now also applies blaze when he just basic attacks you. So this would be a good way for Arawn to get into a fight, apply blaze to a bunch of enemy myths, and then start using his other abilities to capitalize on the fact that they're all blazed and taking extra magic damage over time. Really cool. And the potential of combos with this, I think, is really strong. You can either grab them to set them ablaze, toss them into a wall to stun them, use your ultimate, then toss the fireball down to reduce their magic resist and deal damage to them while they're stunned. Your AoE on Infernal Aura during your ultimate is going to be empowered, plus your basic attacks dealing blaze and resetting that every time you hit them. Very strong, very fast. And then as they're starting to get away, maybe you hit your Torment, your special ability, and that's going to be them feared for a couple seconds, allowing you to reset your abilities and get more damage out onto that enemy myth. So lots of potential here for combos that I can't wait to explore once Arawn's actually released. Arawn's first skin is Overlord Arawn, and if you had asked me prior to seeing his base skin in game, I would have told you that I would pick up this skin in a heartbeat, because I really like Overlord Arawn's kind of design and feel. But after seeing his base skin in game, I really don't think that I'll be personally purchasing Overlord Arawn, because I think his base skin is just way better. And Overlord Arawn doesn't change enough about him. Gives him the horns, which are nice, but kind of like the menacing aspect of his base skin is really cool, and I really enjoy it. Overall, I think Arawn is going to be a very strong tank in the game. I'd imagine we're going to see Arawn pretty much every game because of his ability to create new pathways, gain a lot of health, and be just natively tanky while being able to also, it sounds like, deal lots of damage at the same time and soak a lot of damage during team fights. Very, very useful. Someone that I could easily see being played in every single game of Ethereal, at least to start. And I can't wait to really see what that looks like. Now, guys, we actually just put out an update to our Ethereum GG builder, so I want to take you over there and show you a full build with the new update. All right, guys, so here's the Ethereum.gg builder once again, and I just want to make a quick Arawn build for you guys and show you this new section that we just added to this update. So we're going to do a Arawn build for the jungle. We select his base skin as the background. We name it whatever we want. I chose 420 Blaze It because of the Blaze passive, of course. And right here, you can see, again, our item page. We've kind of gone over this a little bit before, but just briefly showing it. You can add tabs, delete tabs, pick whatever items you want, the whole 9 yards, label them, add notes. Great, great feature here. Next thing we have is the loadout page. I think for Arawn, we're probably going to want the protect loadout tree because he's going to be that kind of tanky person. So we're going to add, I think, so let's add in some armor, a little bit of defense power, and a little bit of magic resist. And we're not gonna worry about the second combat tactic stat at this time. I haven't used them all. I lied. We are going to worry about it. We're gonna add another magic resist in there. Now for the abilities, briefly talked about this before, but I do want to let you guys know again that you start with one level in your special ability, your right mouse button, but you also get to pick something else. Because you really want early access to that Blaze passive, we're going to select his Burning Fist ability, then go for Hell's Inferno at level 2, and then Impending Doom at level 3. At level 4, we're going to go back to Burning Fist. This is going to be his bread and butter ability, so we really want to hang on to that. Then at level 5, we have his the first level into his ultimate, being Imminent Apocalypse. At 6, 7, and 8, we're going to finish out his Burning Fist at level 9, second ability level into your special. Then we're going to look at actually probably doing Hell's Inferno as our second maxed ability here. So we're going to do 10 and 11 and 12 into Hell's Inferno. Level 13 will be a second level into our ultimate. 14 maxing out Hell's Inferno. 15, 16 going into Impending Doom. 17 into our right mouse button. 18 and 19 finishing off Impending Doom, and level 20 closing out our ultimate. Now remember, you can add notes at the bottom here and they'll show up on the final page as well. Now this is the new page that we've added. We've added a threats and synergies page. Now this may not work for before the pre-alpha launches, but once it does, you'll be able to come here and say that Arawn and Dante work really well, or Dante's a major threat for Arawn. So we'll select major, which tells you right there, and then you can type in notes basically talking about like why Dante counters Arawn so well. So I can put in here Dante's range keeps Arawn at bay. So then you can close that out and add another one if you wanted, if there was another myth that you felt really counters Arawn. Then if we go over to our synergies tab, I can say that Malaya works great with Arawn, and that Malaya and Arawn can roam the jungle together. And this will be able to apply to your notes and let other players know that if you see a Malaya on your team, you might want to pick Arawn because their synergy is really, really strong. Then we go to the review page. We see everything that we did here. We've got the starting items, first, back, loadout stats, ability order, and our threats and synergies here listed as well. But guys, remember, Ethereum.gg, I appreciate all the feedback we've been getting on this. If you end up using the builder and something breaks or doesn't work, or even you just have general feedback for us, join my Discord, link in the description, and feel free to let us know in the Discord what your thoughts are, how you would change things, what you think of the new section. And we're going to be constantly doing more updates like this, making things look better, feel better, function better, the whole 9 yards. But guys, that's going to do it for me. I appreciate all of you very much for hanging out through this entire video. I know these videos have been very long recently, but it really means the world to me. Remember, we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of May. So share this video to your friends. Make sure you hit subscribe. If you want to see other videos that I've made, all my Ethereal content is in a playlist right over here. If you want to see the most recent video or something recommended for you by YouTube, right on the other side, and then click the icon above my head hit subscribe and turn the bell on, and I'll see you guys in the next one.